everyone, how's it going? Cloud here, and welcome to my guide on Fairy Tale Part 2 to Cure a Queen quest. Now, for this quest you need the following requirements, so you must have completed the following quests: Fairy Tale Part 1, Jungle Potion, Druidic Ritual, Lost City, Nature Spirit, Priest in Peril, and the Restless Ghost quest. And as for skills, you will need level 40 Thieving, level 49 Farming, boosts are allowed for this skill, and also level 57 Herblore, which boosts are also allowed for this skill. You're also going to need to defeat a Gorak, level 74, possibly a few of them if they don't drop the item you need the first time, but they're not too difficult, and I'll talk about them a bit further on. So, the items required: you will need either a Dramen staff or Lunar staff if you completed the Lunar diplomacy quest. You will also need a Vial of Water, and obviously any combat gear and food to fight the Goraks. Now, Goraks are weak to water spells, so if you are a fairly low combat level and worry with fighting them with melee, it may be best to stick to using the weakness, which would be a magic setup and water spells, but it's completely up to you. I myself killed them with melee, as I'm a decent level, so I'll leave that decision for you to make. So that's it for the requirements and items. Now onto the quest starting point. So we're currently at the Drainer Village Lodestone, which can be accessed via the Lodestone network. Now if you don't have this one unlocked or the other ones, in the description below I've got a guide on Lodestone networks just to speed up completion of this quest. From here we're going to speak to Martin the Master Gardener, who is the one we started the quest in the first Fairy Tale quest, and we'll find him in Drainer Market. So we're going to head that direction now. Okay, so when you arrive, if you haven't spoken to him since you completed the Fairy Tale Part 1 quest, he will tell you to come back once his crops are grown, so you need to wait until your quest menu says his crops have had plenty of time to grow, which takes around 5 minutes. If you attempt to pickpocket him during this time, like if you got bored waiting, that can further your wait. So either sort of log out for 5 minutes or do something else for 5 minutes, but if you check in your quest journal, it will then tell you when to speak to him again. So, once the quest journal says to talk to him again, he'll inform you rather crossly that there is still something wrong with the crops, disbelieving your story about the fairies and accusing of you of creating a problem, and you want to agree to investigate. So now we need to go to Zenaris. Now to get to Zenaris we need to go through the shed, which is in the Lumbrish Swamps, with our Dramen or Lunar staff equipped. So we're going to start heading that direction now. It goes past the Water Altar and the Lumbrish Swamp Dungeon, so I'll speak to you once we arrive there. Okay, once you've gone through into Zenaris, you want to head into the sort of main part of the area and then head towards where the bank is. So, just north of the bank is Fairy Nuff's grotto. Walk in and you'll see a short cutscene of it all messed up and things broken. Now, underneath one of the potion shelves is Fairy Nuff's certificate, which you want to pick it up. Studying the certificate turns its back, so if you right click and put study, which is covered with strange fairy symbols. Now, what you need to do is head south of the bank to find the fairy chef and use the certificate on her, and she will tell you that she's seen similar inscriptions on a sign in the mysterious ruins that is the cosmic altar in the southern part of Zenaris. So we now need to head to the mysterious ruins leading to the cosmic altar, which is directly south of Zenaris. So just watch where I'm going, and there is a couple of agility shortcuts you can use if you have the level to do so, but it doesn't really make much difference if you can't. Okay, so just outside the Cosmic Altar, search south of it and you'll find a small stone tablet, and it is a rune temple sign with symbols similar to those on the back of the certificate. The sign reads Cosmic Rune Altar, so you can now decode Fairy Nuff's message by matching the symbols with the given key. Now, although you do not need to manually decode it, you must read the tablet to proceed, and you discover that the back of the certificate reads, "The Godfather attacked us, we have fled to safety. If you are loyal to Her Majesty, find us by using the coordinates AAR, DLR, DJQ, AJS. So we now need to go speak to the Fairy Godfather, who is the room directly south of Zenaris entrance, near where we was a few minutes ago. So just watch where I'm going. Once you arrive, tell him that the Queen is missing, to which he visibly starts panicking and rushes to say that he'll create a search party for her. The Godfather gives you permission to use the fairy rings to help you locate the Queen, and he asks you to speak to the coordinator outside the room to learn more. So if you head a little bit north, sort of where the midsection is, you should see the coordinator and talk to them and be informed of the vast history of the fairy rings and the Queen. Once you've done that, you then want to head southwest to the fountains, where you should see a fairy ring. We passed it earlier to go to the cosmic altar, so you should have noticed it. Nearby there will be a fairy called Fairy Fix-It, and then you want to talk to her to find out how to use them. Once you've done that, you want to then use the fairy rings while wielding either your Dramen staff or Lunar staff. So from this point you can now use fairy rings throughout RuneScape without finishing the quest, if that is the main reason you started this. At the end of this video I'll tell you a bit more about the fairy rings, and in the description below I will also have all the coordinates to go to the different places. But if you obviously wanted to carry on with this quest, this is what you need to do. So, with Fairy Enough certificate in your inventory, you need to use the fairy ring 4 times in sequence, which will always return back to Zanaris before using the next one. So, starting off, you need to use the fairy ring and type in the coordinates AIR, which will take you to the islands south of Witchaven. Once you arrive there, use the fairy rings to go back to Zanaris. As soon as you arrive back, immediately put in the next coordinates, which is DLR, and that will take you to the islands near the Poison Waste south of Isavadar, and then you want to return to Zanaris. Then you want to use the code DJQ, which is an unattached code, and that will randomly just teleport you a few steps away from the fairy ring. And then you immediately want to go back and use the code AJS, which, if you did it on its own, would have took you to the penguins near Miscellania. However, if you did the 3 codes beforehand, like we just did, you should then arrive in the Queen's location. Now, if you do end up on the island with some penguins, you either made a mistake entering the codes or are not holding the certificate, so if that is the case, you need to re-obtain that. The other reasons it may not have worked is you did not complete the step of finding the stone tablet in the ruins, or that you did not have the required levels to continue with this quest. So if that's the case, you may need to boost those levels now that I mentioned at the beginning to be able to get to the location safely. So, you should be hopefully in the Fairy Queen's new location. You want to just go up the path and head to the northeastern room, and you want to talk to Fairy Enough, who, along with Fairy Very Wise, informs you that the Queen is not well because the Godfather has hurt her by not returning her magic secateurs. As her essence is drained, she cannot retaliate without obtaining her secateurs, which you accept to bring back. So you now want to head back to Zanaris into the main area. So if you go all the way back to the fairy ring we just arrived and click it, you'll teleport back. You then want to head back to where the fairy godfather was. So we need to pickpocket the Queen's golden secateurs back from the fairy godfather. Now, if you fail, you will be teleported outside Zanaris, the main entrance, and you have to go back in. And now it's advised to try pickpocketing from behind or the side of him, and also make sure neither of his henchmen are looking directly at you, and that increases the chance of you obtaining them without being caught. Once you've successfully got them, you need to take them back to the Fairy Queen's hideout. Now this time, the steps that you used last time to go to the Fairy Resistance should be saved in the travel log, so simply you can just click the Fairy Resistance code from that menu, and that will save you having to keep punching in manually yourself. So, once you return back to the fairy hideout, you want to go and talk to Fairy Enough and give her the secateurs. She will then use them to rejuvenate the Queen, but they do not work completely, and Nuff will tell you that she needs a certain magic essence potion to replenish the Queen's missing life energy. To make the potion, you need to collect some star flowers and a crushed Gorak claw. So you want to return to the fairy ring in Zanaris again, and in this time we're going to travel by using the code CKP, which transports you to a cosmic plane. You want to move around for about 2 minutes whilst the star flowers grow. You can also pass the time by talking to the being who lives there, contemplating the mysteries of the universe. Now the star flowers will begin to grow, and you need to pick them when ready. This is what you need your level 49 farming for, so if you need to bring boosts, you want to go back and quickly grab them now. And then you want to add your harvest to the Vial of Water, which requires the 57 Herblore, so again there's a boost there to do if needed. Once you've done that, you then want to return to Zanaris, and then if you haven't got them already, you want to get any armour and weapons along with some food to fight the Goraks that I mentioned. Now you might have to fight several of them if they don't drop the item we need straight away. So at the Zanaris Fairy Ring, use the sequence DIR to get another plane full of Goraks. They are level 74 and occasionally drain stat points. Now you want to kill them, eat and win food when necessary, until you get a Gorak Claw. Once you obtain that and it's in your inventory, just click the Fairy Ring to get back out of there so you're safe. And then you need to grind the claw with a pestle and mortar to get the Gorak Claw powder, and then add that to the Starflower Potion, which will make a Magic Essence Potion. Again, you will need your level 57 Herblore to do that, so if you need to boost it again, obviously make sure you drink up just before you do it. So once you have this potion, you now need to go back to the Fairy Resistance hideout, how we've done before, to give them the potion. So once you're back at the hideout, talk to Fairy Enough, who will inform you to use the potion on the Fairy Queen. You might need to make sure you right click this and use a dose of the Magic Essence Potion on the Queen, who finally regains her senses. As the Queen angrily prepares to return to Zanaris and take back her throne, very wise and Fairy Enough reminder that Godfather has thugs and orcs at its disposal compared to her small band of loyalists. Her Majesty sees the flaw in the plan and accepts the advice, and the Fairy Godfather will continue to rule Zanaris for now. And after you finish speaking to her, it will come up, congratulations, you completed the Fairy Tale Part 2 Cure a Queen quest. You're awarded 2 quest points, 3,500 Herblore experience, 2,500 Thieving experience, a bankable skill lamp granting 2,500 experience in a skill of your choice, level 30 or above, access to the Fairy Ring network, the ability to make Magic Essence Potion, 2 Treasure Keys, and 2 Hearts of Ice. So there we are, quest complete. Now I know a main majority of you will probably be following this guide just to obtain the fairy rings, as they are required for a lot of other different things. Obviously the full completion of this quest is required for some other bits, but obviously if you just want the fairy rings, all you need to do is get up to the point where you're allowed to use them, and that's that. Now after you've completed the quest, you'll be able to have like complete full access to all the fairy rings, as I think some of them are restricted for you completing the quest, and also some of them will have other requirements as well, such as they might need repairing, or other fairy rings might not be active until you've achieved a certain milestone. Either way, in the description below I'm going to write a whole list of all the different fairy ring codes and what they take you to, and if they have any requirements. So it might be worth, when you've got some spare time, just to head to the fairy ring and go to all the different locations that I've written down, and that way they're all saved in your travel log, so you don't have to manually type them in anymore. And I also believe you can now favourite some of your fairy rings as well, so if you constantly go to the same place, for instance like any sort of Slayer area, then obviously that fairy ring being saved will be quite handy for you, and you can get there much quicker. Now, I don't think you'll run into any problems following my guide. However, if you do get stuck at all, leave a comment in the comment section below and I'll help you out as best I can. If not, thank you for watching. Please make sure you like, favourite, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to share with your friends. Cheers guys, bye bye.